Here's how the report flow, the design, test, and development workflow works here in this case in Microsoft. This process starts with me and others, but the designers creates the key components of the design in whatever tools he and she prefers. I've used for this task here, I've used Adobe InDesign for making checklists. The checklist is you could call it a recipe for making a design. So this is the result from me having created designs inside, in this case Dreamweaver. This could also be Visual Studio. And having nailed the design of this invoice as it is, I can then subtract the values out of this. And the point about the checklist here is that this gives a sequential, you can start with the canvas header, set all these things, that is mirrored in the development environment. It gives the developer a recipe for how to create the design. And on top of this there'll be like examples and visualizations. So they have this document which is we call either guideline or checklist or specs, you could call it. We also have a lot of videos showing how to do it, so it's a mix of formats. But they have this, we've created those alongside that in this guy is a program manager. He and this team, in a sense, me and other key stakeholders or leads, will be looking at the amount of work that this application would need and decide which part of the application we will do development on for the sake of designing. We call this an visual upgrade. So in very large and complex types of software, which this is, that is a choice you'll be having to make. So certain things will not will just be coded and will look the way they look, and I won't have any design control on that. That's a simple prioritization. In smaller applications like iPhone apps and things like that, you'll typically go all the way and design every little pixel to the last detail. But I think the process will work for that as well. So we've created a core list which is sent out for the developers, and people up here is the key contact person for our external developer in India, and he sends a weekly report with what they worked on. And all the work items is listed in the so-called TFS system and is linked on the web and everything in SharePoint type of things. Well, my specifications is on SharePoint, which works really well, and because it has version control and I can comment my updates of the versions, and I have one single point of collection, and it's easy to upload, and actually just a repository of the file. But TFS is a place to track the actual items that you work on, and I'll take an example here. So Christina here is the lead tester. So her job is to just test software, and she'll actually act a bit as my secretary to send the things that I need particular attention to. So you can see here she sent me a list where I have to go in and say approve or not approve, and she also calls out one particular one here that I need someone to advise on. So this is the TFS system. It has a lot of details in here, which the core thing is the attachments or the history. The attachments is where I can see what has been made. So we have two versions here, before and after, and I look at the after to see what the vendor has created, and I can see why they need my advice already, because this is a form that looks completely different than what we've designed, and also because it's probably a form that falls short of what the archetypes we have designed. So I'll consider what to do. I would say from a design point of view, I look at it fairly quickly. I can see the only thing I'll do here is to remove work on this white space here, so that it becomes consistent and it only has one line. So I will go back into the Visual Studio, the TFS. Look at the history, just quickly see here. Any guidance report, need your suggestions, okay. So I'll say tighten, vertical line spacing under headers, otherwise OK. And that's done. So let's just take the last one, since I am then done with my, there's two here. I've done the other ones above here, but just for the repetition here. So let's see. I really only look at the visuals. I don't from the content point of view here, I don't look at the content, so I don't know in a sense what this form is for. But because there's so many, there's thousands of them. I just look at the design, whether it follows the guidelines that I've created, and see here the line spacing is better and tighter, and although this doesn't look very usable, doesn't necessarily matter in this case. That's a different topic. We might go in afterwards and look at once the bulk of everything has been done, and work on certain high traffic forms, if you like, or pages. So if this was decided that this is really, we need more space here for the person to, or if a customer said, well, we need more space, then we might go in and work on that. So it's not more fixed. That's the beauty of software, is we can change it, I suppose. But this looks overall good to me. They've used the colors that I needed, and the alignment looks right. So I'll go back and say OK, and I'll probably see in the thread here, yeah, looks OK from test sides, and I'll also say UX OK. And then this will probably be set to OK all over, and be sent to production, so to speak, or into the build, as they call it. That's it.